Well, hello, good morning, and it's your old mate Dave Spencer back with you once again, off on another one of our transport adventures. And this time we're down at Gaydon in Warwickshire at the museum, and it's the truck days. And we're here for the second day, the Sunday, but of course we've still got vehicles arriving, but we get them all going. And I'll be making my way along the lines. It's a great pleasure to have you all with us today, and I'm struggling a bit. I'm left-handed, yeah. You never guess what I've got. We had gout, yes, very painful as well. But the show must go on. So catch up with you as we go along or at the end. How's that? See you in a bit. Bye. I've got lots of goodies to pick up today. Don't anybody tell Mandy, because she'll say you don't need any more of those models. They don't understand, do they? I know. Anyway, we will do what we were doing. And what are we going to see, Dave? Well, of course, we shall see what we shall see. Well, the sun isn't too much of a problem this morning, is it? The photography just spot on. Lightish clouds. Well, we've got this super day down at Gaydon, and next weekend we've got Council. And that has the advantage of being just down the road from home, and I'll have two glorious days there. Let's hope the weather is going to hold to what they say it's going to do. It should be quite a nice weekend. Today it's supposed to be going out very hot, but I'm taking no chances, and I've got my coat on. It's really a joy when we haven't got to worry about the sunlight. Not that I don't like the sun, of course, I love the sun. I love the heat. But it can be challenging at times, can't it? As we make our way, we start out on the lines, and then today's arrivals will be coming in, and then we have a little bit of quiet right in the middle of the day where I sort of get to the nether regions of the displays, and then I meet up with people I know and go for a drink and hide the booty that I've got, and then next weekend start all over again. Nice and quiet at the moment, and it's well worth getting the lineups near the main paths done early. Otherwise you've got people walking in front of you. Don't want that, do we? Oh gosh, we had that the other week at our running day for North West Vehicle Restoration Trust up at Kirby and Merseyside. People were there, very angry, nasty people, and it just sort of barged in. Yeah, unfortunately Mandy had a bit of a catastrophe the other day. We had a day off from transport, went to down to Shropshire, Attingham Park, and cut a long story short, their staff were a bit stretched. They didn't have anybody to operate the small lift there, and Mandy ended up trying to back herself out the lift, and the door opened as she pushed, and as she went backwards and cracked her head on the concrete floor. She's got nothing serious, fortunately, but quite a few aches and pains and bumps and bruises. It really is super to be here. Actually, it clashes with some other events, including the bus event up in Derbyshire, which would be very nice to go to. Well, it always clashes with Gaydon though. But we have so many events. We're so well off for events like this in the United Kingdom, aren't we? Of course, once upon a time we used to have a stand here. We have stands at very few events these days. I go along to them and film them, but really time has gone by. The boxes are ever heavier, and it becomes so tedious getting the car filled up. The van went during the pandemic. It fetched a premium price then. Vans were in very short supply. As we arrived this morning at the showground here at the museum, Tom was here and greeting everybody, and everybody was greeting Tom. Even offered us a brew. Very, very kind. Tom Curran makes a great job of it all. And I think this weekend is actually celebrating the anniversary of the Commercial Vehicle Club. I know there's a bit of a do for it because a mate of mine from the south coast is coming up for it. I saw a lot of the photographers that I know up at the gate coming in, but I don't really need to be up there at the moment. I need to be getting along the lines and then catching the ones that come in a bit later on. Oh, it's all a bit frenetic and that, but I don't get too wound up these days. You get what you get, and usually get most of them, if not all of them. I really do hope there's a few vehicles that we haven't seen before around today. So it's nice to see something different. Most of the time I'm out filming either buses, trams, trolleybuses or trucks in the UK, around the world, and always looking out for something unusual. I must say at Truckfest this year there really was a lack of reserved vehicles. They usually have quite a good display tucked in here, there and everywhere between all the new wagons, but this year seems to be a lot less. Of course the costs ever soaring upwards. Cost a fortune to fill them up. Very distinctive cab on the sedan. Looking at the Bedford, reminds me of my trip recently, very recently really, to Bangladesh. Still quite a number of TKs in service there, although probably on sort of lower quality services such as rubbish collection. A lot of the Bedfords did survive on lower sort of more menial jobs like skip collection and oil tankers and things, waste oil collections. I saw one in Eastbourne just about 3 or 4 years ago down there. I wonder if that's still on the go. It was collecting the waste oil from the kitchens of all the many hotels there. And the line already stretching along the road. Even when there's not a special event on, if you're interested in motors, very interesting displays here. History of motor cars in Britain, always something different to see. And they've also got a building open now where not only do you get the reserve collection, you get to see the work in the workshops going on with a sort of overhead viewing gallery. All very good stuff. And yet another Bedford arriving, eh? Well, getting on the end with all the others. Tom said to me, get in there early and get them all back before the crowds come. And that is exactly what we're doing. I'm not quite sure why there's so many cars. Let's say, yeah, they can get around the road that goes through to the back, where they unload for the models, etc., and the stalls. But everybody seems to be coming in the front way. Let's see the wagons which have got the no loaders on there, with a whole bevy of lorries on board. Just going into the unloading area. Looks very tidy. I'm from Kent. I was born in Kent, believe it or not. Never lived there, but I was born. I spent the first few weeks of my life there. The van versions of these outlasted the production of the cars by many years. A mate of mine's got one of these as a sort of little caravanette. He's had that quite a long time now. I was speaking to my friend, arranging to meet up here, and I said, well, I'll be out the next weekend. For the next week and whatever, down south. I'm going down there to Southampton filming the trucks. And he said, well, it's all just modern stuff there, isn't it? And I said, well, this was all modern stuff once, wasn't it? Now the sun really is breaking through now. As well as the sort of more vintage show, there's a more modern classic version later on in the year, also at the Gaydon Museum. Well, we're sort of down at the bottom, sort of size-wise end of the commercial market with the original minivans. with the size of the new Mini. If you made a try to make a van, you'd end up with a lorry. They're that big. Rather delightful hat key. Perhaps that's not one we've seen before. Sort of well caught my eye, that. And another one that well catches the eye, and yet another sedan. Very tidy indeed. And some things just seem so right that they, or don't they? Perfectly proportioned, delights to the eye, something that makes your heart race if you saw this unexpectedly coming down the road in this day and age. What a memory evoking vehicle it is. Absolutely spot on in every respect, and so well turned out. Well, the sun is coming out now, and hopefully my coat will be proved to be superfluous. Right, that was a good word for saying it. Superfluous, not required. Unless of course it changes and it runs, in which case Dave will be saying, oh, I'm alright, mate, I've got my coat. I've got a trolley as well in the camera. back to the lineups. After that bit of activity. One of the rarer vehicles in preservation is the Vulcans. Very tidy. Another one. Oh, I could just about get that on my drive at home. Yes, very nice. I don't know what Mandy would say if I went home with that. It surprised me the other day. I was watching something, old trolley buses, and she said, "Oh, Glasgow." I said, "Did you really know that was a Glasgow trolley bus?" She said, "Yeah." She says, "Don't forget, during the days of the old videos, everything had to be sort of taken off at real time." So she said, I know what a lot of things are actually. I'm quite surprised. Some of these look as though they've just come out of the old showroom, don't they? We can all sort of get lost in our own little time warps as we walk up and down the roads. Oh, what's coming in? New Haven, it's painted up, and that's a town not too far from where I grew up in Eastbourne. I used to go through New Haven every day when I was an apprentice on the gas board. We used to go over to the Tech over at Brighton. Now the sun is now really beating down on the wagons. It's June 2025. Been a very sunny springtime, very dry as well. That's one of the driest on record, and paid for it a bit as we entered into from May into June and into summer proper, but the fine weather seems to be back with us now. There's some fine looking lorries on display today at Gaydon. Is this comma new to us in restoration? Perhaps. Looks very, very smart, very nicely finished. I think that one might be a little bit too long for our drive. But gosh, what a beauty! Gorgeous. Keywell's a fleet that still features widely in our annual film coverage around Britain, around the British Isles, should I say, certainly onto the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, and this year alone, well, we've covered a few destinations, haven't we? We went to the Dominican Republic. That was interesting, lots of old American rigs there.
Terrible you're not.
All right.
Drop that long filter up in the tank. Take that out. But they, I know, and there's, no, they had the storage tank at work. They were having trouble. They put in the Volvo. The report they had that in the tank at work. And they had to physically get in there and breathe it out breakers and sprayed it all out.
Not necessarily our first thoughts when it comes to Thames Trader, but look at that. When I see a Morris, I always think of the gauchos in Uruguay. One of their favourite steeds, other than their horses, were the Morrises. By that time, a bit of badge engineering though. The sun's just behind a bit of a cloud now, so a chance to just make our way down the next row, a little bit into the sun, not quite spot on really for photography, but take advantage of the cloud cover for a tick. Well, as the old advertising adage used to go, what we want is what is. And if it was delivered in this Fortin, wouldn't we be happy chappies? I'm not quite sure about the beer though. Watney's Red Barrel, gosh. That day, that shows up your misspent youth. Well, only a bit.
And it was used for every single thing.
He offers trade to the fuel.
Now the sun's come out again, so we're battling against it there for exposure. Gorgeous though, isn't it? That's a wonderful sort of, what would have been more classic than vintage, because now they are all vintage. What a delight. Who's an happy chappy? Nothing better than the Sunday morning wandering around the lines at Gaydon. Before the crowds get here, as Tom said. Get them bagged. I'm not 100% sure that we're actually going to get crowds these days. Most rallies sort of struggle to get what they used to get. But Gaydon's clawed its way back up the rankings, I think. But these days, Council probably takes the biscuit with the fantastic effort done by Rebs, the RF, Mark, organisation, club, society, whatever, and the old Rebs certainly get the attendance revved up. Of course, a lot of the wagons have got living accommodation incorporated in their loads. I wonder if we'll see this next week at Council. Possibly. Slightly different catchment area. We were talking of Council and of course local, roughly speaking, to the two local manufacturers, Bowden and ERF, both of course actually the same family. They disagreed on the future way to go after steam, whether it would be petrol engines or the newfangled diesel, and they split into another again to join up again even. Well, he's even got a veranda on the hut, on his living accommodation on this 4D, and that's something else you see a lot of, well, you used to see a lot of around and about. Still see these in service in Cyprus on the Red Soil Villages annual potato harvest. The red soil villages in Cyprus actually situated right near the border with the Turkish occupied sector of Cyprus, and of course they're red soil villages as well. Not quite as many classics there though. Both Cyprus, the Greek side, and the Turkish side, both can be very funny about photography. I've had run-ins with both, worst being the Greek side, and said tourists should stick to the beach. There you go. I'd give Cyprus a miss if you were thinking about it, and if you want to go to one half, well, go to the Turkish half, although it grieves me to say it. Downhill or what? Well, the owner of this Scania certainly got a bit of sparkle in his life, a sparkle in the black paint there. Some wagons seem a little bit more prosaic, don't they? But all veterans, all vintage, all classics. And of course, as we are ourselves, as we sort of move in to the era where there are even electric lorries to an extent, usually making local liveries, but you never know what's going to turn up. Well, that sun is certainly back within the vengeance now, and we'll just fight against the light a little bit to finish off this row. Of course, it'll have been added to at the other end, but we'll get round them all in one way or another. Just wait to the end and watch them going out. Magnums always make me think of ice creams, and I think we've got a day when the ice cream vendors are going to do quite well at their trade here at Gaydon. We used to have a stand, as I think I said earlier, in the building next to the loos and the cafes. Suited Mandy, and it was a good focal point, very good spot actually that Tom gave us. Now, of course, this was the special limited edition Volvo, where you've got the sort of two domes on the roof. Oh, Dave, rotten jokes. Too much Tony Blackburn, I think. Now, a very classic shape that marked out the Volvo at the time. That slight sort of slope in at the front.
Enjoy that while you can. Shout when you want to cook your own face.
And the sun just dipping into the clouds.
There's a Delta can
We've got
fire engines for the skyscrapers who were two-stroke rolls of washing. You took them out and replaced them with oh bloody hell, Cummins, because they used to self-destruct. There were takeouts in running order, and I got one in a box spare. I got to take out unit, and I
Okay.
sorry, mate.
I didn't know there was anything up here.
No, no, I always go down in me dirty clothes and come back and get changed for dirt float.
Lift to the top. We do or what? Yeah.
Derek. Yeah, we can go through. It's not taking a thing. Coming quick. Quick. Sorry, you filming that? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
All right.
Chernobyl.
Oh, just having a nice chat from lad over from Northern Ireland. He used to be on the coaches. I was thinking about going back. About every 7 or 8 years it gets a bit itchy feet to move on. One reason to get around this sort of area of the trucks is that later in the day, a lot of them get the radios on and there's sounds bouncing out that you don't want to be there on YouTube, otherwise you get picked up for
Sometimes when his car's getting worked on, he brings
copyright malarkey. You don't want to get into that sort of trouble. I started sort of making films in earnest on wagons really at the end of the 1980s, early 90s, but those films themselves have been classics. Of course I look back and think, oh, why didn't I do more? But then, you know, we could say that about everything really, like, you know. Well, yes, it's your old mate Dave. We've come to the end of another transport adventure, and this time another fantastic visit to Gaydon for the annual vintage truck do. There seemed to be a few, I don't know, there's always a still boys, but I think the others were nudging in a little bit, but that's probably because I'm sort of getting older and everything looks new to me now. If it's less than 40 or 50 years old, it's brand new. Wished I was brand new. I got gout in me blooming knuckle joints and things, goodness me. Hey, what more is going to be sent to plague me? What have I done so awful? Anyway, thanks for coming along. Thanks for joining us. It's always having a pleasure having you along on the trips with us. And remember, stay safe, stay well, be good. And if you can, be kind to other people, because we really are living for some funny old times, aren't we? And in the meantime, Mandy's at home nursing our wounds after our little misadventure at the National Trust yesterday in Shropshire. And meantime, I say, on behalf of Mandy and myself, God bless, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye bye everybody, bye bye.